Good afternoon. I'm Dan, the Happy Idiot, and today we'll be tearing apart a Lyman 22 Junior. It's a 2.5 power scope, which would have the external adjustments. There's no internal adjustments on the scope tube. I see them a lot with these kind of mounts, and they have the adjustments. Here's the elevation and the windages right there. Okay, so first of all, we'll take off this is the eyepiece over here, and this is the objective lens. We'll take off the objective lens first. It's got a screw right here that you adjust the parallax with. So we'll take that out. Set that stuff aside, slide this down. The lens comes out, and I grab my little lens remover tool, whatever it's called. I'm sure it's got a special name, and that's actually a little bit loose. So we'll set it in the little cutouts, tighten that down, and unscrew it. Usually when you get these, you can just loosen it up with that, and then you just get it out the rest of the way with your fingers. And there's that. Flip this over. Get my t-shirt. Just wipe it off real good. I can't stress enough that you need to keep things in the original order. So this lens was sitting there. So when I put it in, I basically flipped it back over in its original orientation and put the lens retainer back on. And you could do this with a screwdriver also. Just it'll work the same way, but I got the tool, so I'm going to use the tool. Wow, it's tight already, that's why. Okay, so now there's two screws. There's two screws. There's one 180 degrees on the other side of the scope from it. These actually are the crosshairs. So what I'm going to do before I do anything down here with unscrewing this or anything, I'm going to take these out. And they're tiny buggers too. And there's the other one. I'll take my Mossberg tube. It's kind of a tool for me. Put it in it. The thing with the Mossberg tube is right here. It just pushes on the edge of whatever's in there. And I'll show you why that's important once we get it apart. Especially with this scope. Okay, so now we're going to take the the ocular eyepiece off. Just slide it. And there's the one lens in here. And when I'm doing this, you can't see it because it's off camera, but I'm making sure the Mossberg tube slides down when I'm removing all this stuff. And then right here, that's the crosshairs. That's the reticle holder right here. The reason why you want this to just push on the exterior, because you don't want to break those crosshairs. It would just push right on the exterior. Basically those two screws right there. So I'm going to put this over out of the way. Yeah. And these are done a little bit differently, just because of the crosshairs. The crosshairs actually holds the erector lens assembly all together. It butts up against it. So basically I'll clean all the lenses. I'll clean all the lenses to put the crosshairs back on top of this lens and put it all together that way. Alright, so I'm going to clean that lens after I get all this other stuff put back together. Okay. So I'm going to put the reticle in there. For the first lens, this little orifice thing. And I'll put on that metal thing that holds everything in place. That keeps everything from falling apart. Basically gravity holds it together when it's sitting there. So you want to be careful. You knock it over. You can find yourself with a big can of worms there. Put this lens on top of that lens spacer, I guess you would call it. And then screw this somewhat in. You don't want to screw it in all the way, and I'll show you why. Okay, so up here is the reticle holder. Got to spin it now to find out. Find out where the screws are. Okay, there's one screw. And that's the first time I tried that with the Mossberg tube in there to get everything lined up. It actually worked pretty well. So I put that I centered the screw hole inside that hole in the outer tube. Screwed the one screw in. Get the other tiny screw. Screw it in. And these aren't snug yet. I just put them basically button up against the lens, the scope tube. So now we can tighten this up. Tighten the ocular eyepiece up. Tighten the two screws that hold the reticle holder. And the objective lens can go back in, and it also has to line up with a screw hole. Keep this a little loose. Basically focus it on your target. I'm just focusing it out the window for right now. Tighten the parallax screw down. And put the end cap back on. And that's how you take the Lyman 22 Junior apart. It's a 2.5 power scope made from 35 to 1936. Thanks for stopping in. I'm Dan the Happy Idiot, and you guys have a great day. Thanks.